we don't have to self-abandon to be full mothers. And the narrative for the past couple of generations has really perpetuated this. And so being honest with ourselves, what's true? What makes me the best mother? When do I feel most alive for my children? And it's actually when you're most connected to yourself. Hello, friends, and welcome to the latest episode of the Unapologetically Yours podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Logan, and I'm so happy to have you here today. Unapologetically Yours is a podcast for the doers, the dreamers, the change makers, people who are ready to step courageously outside of the box and examine what's true versus what we've been told. Because in a world where we've been taught to play by the rules, it's time to live unapologetically. I want to talk about something that just makes me so mad. And it is the phrase, you got this mama. You got this mama. You got this mama. So I am a mom of 3. And a working one at that. And I know that whether you are working for the man, working for yourself, have a side hustle, or managing your household, that motherhood is overwhelming. And it is very, very easy to lose sight of who you are simply by having kids. And because we've just been sort of taught to put our kids first. Okay, now this is going to sound bad. I put my kids first. My dog is sitting here and she's just trying to get in my lap in case you're watching. So here's the thing is that yes, we should put our kids first. But if we are burnt out and we are shells of ourselves, we're not going to be good parents. We're not going to be embodied leaders of our household. We're not going to maintain strong relationships with our partners. We're not going to maintain strong relationships in our professional lives. It's just impossible. But here's the thing about this, like, you got this mama culture. It teaches us that 1, we're alone. 1, we can figure it out. And 2, that we've got to find the answer and the resources independently of leaning into each other and speaking truth about how absolutely fucking hard it is to do it all, to have it all. And listen, there's so much talk right now about like trad wife life. I would love me a farm. I would love me a farm. I want a horse. I would love land. I would love a farm where I can wake up with a cup of coffee and pace around my unmowed field and go put my hands on big oak trees and breathe in fresh air and have like a barn cat and a place where I like to build fires. Like, I want that so bad. I would love to raise my own vegetables. I would love to live on a farm. And I want that for myself. And I want that for anyone who wants that for themselves. I want to have a barn where I can remake furniture to my heart's desire and paint it bold jewel tones and add fun little new handles and shit like that. Like, I want to live on the land. I want to create from the land. I want to be inspired by it. And I want all of those things. I want my kids to like go fetch eggs from the hen house. So nothing against trad wives. I get it. I would love to have that. But here's the part about it that is so alarming to me is that so much about that culture is about self-abandonment. And that is where I think that we lose our life force energy. We forget to remember that we as women are creators. Like, we get to represent and be the image of God and bring life into the world. And we get to be the leaders of our households and help to teach our children what it means to be magical, empowered, alive, creative, unique beings. And God, that is so fucking beautiful. But when we are burnt out, how can we do that? So what ends up happening is our schedules are packed with kids' activities, no time for connection with friends, no time for self-care, meditation, creativity, because we've been taught that that is trivial. And I am here to tell you that it is fucking not. It is not. It is so important because if you burn out, the household disappears. When you burn out, your kids stop having someone to look to who is embodying the life that we all should should want to live. We are not just pawns of a capitalistic society. Okay, we are all pawns of a capitalistic society. What I'm trying to say, y'all, is that we need a village. We need to stop abandoning ourselves as women and remember that we can lean into our own beautiful, wonderful communities. And if we don't have those resources ourselves, we can create them. So let's talk a little bit about how. Here is a story, and it starts with getting pregnant with my first daughter. And oh my God, she's just like the light of my life. And when she was born, she was particular. She is still very, very particular. And I heard so much of that dreaded vernacular, "You got this, mama." And it made me feel alone. It made me feel ashamed to ask questions about, am I doing this right? What feels good? And honestly, like I did lean into my instincts a lot more after the birth than during the birth. That's a whole different story. But she was a traumatic birth, what's called a shoulder dystocia, where her head came out and her shoulders didn't. I've talked about it before. Unpleasant. She was just fine, though, thank God. So in those early days, it just felt like you're on your own, kid. And even my sister had a baby just a couple months after I did, and we weren't in community about our experiences, sharing, texting late night, or doing any of those things that show that like we're in camaraderie with one another and being truthful about the fact that our nipples were bleeding from breastfeeding and that we were pounding tea for breast milk production around the clock to make sure we had enough to feed our babies. Like all of those things were true and they were happening in silos. And so this like, "you got this, mama" culture was what laid the framework for me to, over the next 9 years, my daughter's 9 now, I'm no longer operating in a state of burnout, but there was moments that peaked probably when she was maybe 6 years old where I thought I was going to die. I thought I wasn't going to make it. I had lost myself so deeply. And it was for my children that I remembered that if I don't come back home to myself, who's going to be the beacon to show them what this whole life is all about? And if I'm not living that life for them to see, then how are they going to get that for themselves? Light bulb moment, light bulb moment. So let's talk about what needs to happen in your life to reclaim your power, reclaim your identity so that you can show your kids that path too. They are not mutually exclusive. It's vital that these things are happening together. So if we want our kids to go play sports, we need to also move our body. If we want our kids to be musicians, then we must play music, make music, sing. If we want our kids to be artists, then we must also be artistic. Otherwise, what's the point? So like you can like go paint pretty pictures and then go work for some jamoke and for not that much money at a desk for your whole rest of your life. No, it's about embodiment. It's about being creative. It's about learning to think for yourself and carving your own path. So for me, where this started was my grandma knew that I had made music for most of my life. I loved to sing since I was a little girl. I was always singing and making up songs and little tunes and singing along, and it was my favorite thing. And then she asked me what songs I sang to my daughter. And I realized that I wasn't singing to my children at all. And that's when everything sort of started to unravel for me, where I was like, wait, I can't even find it within myself to sing the songs that are in my cells to my children. Wow. I am really, really, really disembodied right now, and something's got to change. As I started to connect more with myself, my relationship with my children improved exponentially, starting with my daughter, because I could see myself in her and she could see herself in me. And that was such a beautiful dichotomy and a beautiful reflection and beautiful sense of self for all of us. That how, again, like I'm repeating myself, but like, how can I teach her to be everything that she's going to be if I'm sitting on the sidelines of my own damn life? How could I expect my children to be everything they should be in the world if I am sitting on the sidelines of my own damn life? Fuck that. No. So, but you're not alone if this is resonating with you. If you've got habits and hobbies that you've abandoned, or you're not making time to take care of yourself, let's start unwinding and going back to the beginning. So it starts with connecting back with your body and yourself and your presence, figuring out what's true for you and what's someone else's. So that to me looked like asking myself and tuning into my body and finding out, okay, do I want pizza? Yes or no? Very simple questions. I've talked about this before, but really getting clear about what's a yes for me and then honoring it. That's embodiment. That's attunement. And it starts with listening to what our bodies have to say about what we want. What are our desires? What are our hopes? What makes us feel alive, and leaning into it. Oh my God, just honoring it. And even if in that moment you can't follow through, you can't run away from the carpool pickup line, at least acknowledge the truth in yourself. And then you can start to set your sights on what is possible for you, what could be next. Thinking about, okay, I'm going to move my body more. I'm going to take a few moments of just quiet introspection. Okay. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Taking 5 minutes to yourself in the car, in the driveway before you go into the house, you're allowed to take that time and not feel guilty for 1 second. Those moments, that's when you can catch your breath. And it starts small. It starts with those little moments where you can reclaim your time, reclaim your thoughts, and reconnect with what's true for you. The other piece is starting to get back into creative expression. What a gift it is to be human. We are all creators. I believe this very, very, very deeply. We are all artists. We all have music in our veins that wants to come out, and art in our fingertips. And it's about expression. It's about allowing ourselves to not be in a state of self-loathing, judgment, just for a little while, and let yourself express. So whether that's going to whatever art store, hobby store, craft store, and picking up a cheap paint set, and just if you're the drinking type, pour yourself a glass of wine and just see what comes out on the paper. If it's starting to express yourself through journaling, let yourself see what comes out on the page. Give yourself a chance for your voice and your desires and your creativity and your play to just come out. It's essential. And that connection to yourself, to that creator energy, that mother, the feminine energy within you, it deserves to be seen. It deserves to come alive. And you'll be amazed about how much lighter you feel. So and this applies to if you're thinking about starting a side hustle and you're oh, I don't know, I'm not even making any money from it. No, do it, because it brings you joy. It's a chance for expression. It's a chance for you to just be alive and have something that's outside of the expectations, that's outside of the grind, that can give you a little bit of life and a little bit of joy. It is so vital. Do it. Have something now. If you need something, I've got all sorts of recommendations of different art schools, teachers, singing groups, anything that you can join that'll help you to just remember that you have a creator inside of you that is dying to be expressed, because that's your truth. And it's a beautiful thing. And I can't wait to see what you come up with. So the other piece of this is honoring what's aligned and what's not, and starting to set down those things that aren't true for you anymore. I look at the way that my life has changed since realizing that I wasn't singing to my daughter. Whew. It took some courage to look at what wasn't working. It took some courage to take action about what wasn't working. And those things were on very different timelines, let me tell you. First was the knowing and settling in to that. And then was the action. But we need to be honest with ourselves about what's true for us, and then act on it in embodiment. And that means setting boundaries. And for women, at least for this particular adorable woman, setting boundaries is really hard, because I love people. I love them so much. And I want to make them happy because I love them and I see all of the beauty in them, and I want to bring it out, and I want to make them laugh, make them smile, and serve. That's a natural healer in me. But also that doesn't work if it's at the expense of me. So it is a-okay to be a little bit selfish once in a while and be able to say, no, I don't got this, mama. I am not going to sign up for this committee and go do this thing that's going to burn me out, make me tired, make me miss time that I want to be painting or walking by myself or just like sitting in my driveway alone. If it's going to take away from those things that are going to recharge my battery, it's a no. And it's not just a no, it's a hell no. That's okay. You are allowed to set boundaries to protect your peace. And here's like a secret that I tell, like when clients or people are looking to schedule time with me, I have to remind myself, like, they can't see my calendar. They don't know if the time that's blocked could be viewed as superfluous, time I've blocked out for a walk or to record a podcast or to play my singing bowls or to just be. They don't know that time could be up for grabs in case of an emergency. And in case of an emergency, yes, I would give that time up. But it's okay to push people a few days to the future or a few weeks to the future if you've got something that is important to you. That is how you take care of yourself so that you can show up in this life as the strong, powerful being that you are. And you deserve to be taken seriously in that light. The other piece here when it comes to being a woman that is just so exhausting is a judgment against ourselves. And I know for a fact that most people are more worried about themselves than they are about other people. But what happens in some circles is talking shit about people and all of like that negative energy that can be present in that like toxic femininity. And I have to say that I'm delighted because maybe everyone's talking behind my back. They probably are. No, I'm not going to assume that. I don't care. Here's the thing is that people don't talk shit to me very often because I'm just not there for that. I'm a positive person and I really like to focus on people's strengths, and that's much more empowering to me. But we have so much self-loathing for how we look, what we wear, what our bodies are doing. And that comparison to other women is just so exhausting. And I think that one of the ways to solve for that is just by being in community and by being vulnerable and by speaking your truth and asking for help and voicing it when it's like, you know what? I feel off right now and I don't know what it is and I need help right now and I don't know why, or I feel burned out right now. Are you feeling this way too? That is the way. Instead of loathing yourself, instead of talking shit about other people, use what's going on inside of you to form authentic connection. Be vulnerable, share your truth, and see how your relationships become stronger, more authentic, more real, and more rewarding, because authenticity is a whole vibration and you can feel it in your cells for sure when someone is showing up in their fullest expression. It feels safer. It feels better to be around people like that because you know what to expect and you can know that you can believe them. And so I think that that's one of the most important things for women these days is establishing connection. Okay, so what's the point of this whole thing? I, feel so much sorrow for the women of this generation, but I also feel so much hope because we have never been more free or safer to create the life of our dreams. But it requires us being radically authentic about what is working and what is not. And when those lies have been passed down for generations, like you got this, mama, or pregnancy glow and all of those things about motherhood that are like, yes, we love the absolute sweet potatoes out of our kids. Yes. And we miss dancing on tables with our best friends. Those things can be true and we can be the best mom and we could still go dance on tables. I'm really talking dance on tables, but safety first. But what I'm saying is that we don't have to self-abandon to be full mothers. And the narrative for the past couple of generations has really perpetuated this. And so being honest with ourselves, what's true? What makes me the best mother? When do I feel most alive for my children? And it's actually when you're most connected to yourself, when you have had a moment to recharge your battery, when you've had a moment of reflection, when you've been able to create, and when you've been able to fill your own motherfucking cup. So fill your motherfucking cup. But we've got to be honest about what our needs are so we can change the narrative for the next generation. One of the things that I do is I host workshops, events, retreats to help primarily women. We've got some events for men coming up in the future, but primarily women remember who the fuck they are. Reset their nervous system, connect with their bodies, connect with their creativity, connect with that sense of self again so that they can show up in their truest expression and live a life that feels good so they can be in their bodies and feel fucking good so that they aren't walking around with that feeling of just being alone without community, without connection. So I am launching my first ever cohort in January, and I cannot freaking wait. And over the course of 8 weeks, we are going to lean into one, group coaching, so building connection among all the people who sign up. We are also going to be connecting through somatic practices like breath work and sound healing. And we are going to remember what it feels like to live in our bodies and out of our heads so that we can be one whole ass person, not a fragmented person changing hats all day long and running from a frantic state of burnout so we can be embodied in our truth, in our fullest expression, and in the company of other like-minded women. I am so excited about this. Please visit my website, ashleydlogan.com, and sign up for my newsletter so you can be the first to know, get on the wait list. We'll share it in the show notes and so that you can sign up for this if you're in the Chicagoland area. But guess what? There is going to be a virtual option coming in the spring. So if you're not local to Chicago, but this still appeals to you, I still want you to sign up for the wait list and tell me what you're thinking, what you have in mind, and then we'll make sure that we get you added to the spring cohort because this work is so important. I will tell you that I had to burn my whole life down. I left my business that I ran for over a decade. I left my marriage that was almost for 10 years because I was so disconnected from myself and my truth. And I'd gotten so off course. And untangling those threads was brutal. Going into the depths of my soul and my pain to remember who the fuck I am was one of the most excruciating, expansive journeys that I can. One day I will have all the words to express the journey that I've been on. But the reason why I do this work, the reason why I want to tell these stories is so that you don't have to, unwind your whole life, that you can, and maybe you want to. So I've got tools for that too, but that you can be fully empowered in whatever choice you want to make, that you are doing it from a place of surrender, a place of self-reflection, a place of truth, a place of trust, and a place of embodiment. And that whatever choice that you make in your life, that you can do it with a regulated nervous system, with presence of mind, and in full truth. So thank you so much for tuning in today. This was a fun one. And let me tell you this, it's not you got this, mama. I got you, mama. If you need anything, reach out. You can find me at hello@ashleydlogan.com, over email, Instagram @ashleydlogan, or by podcast. Well, you're listening. I want to hear from you. Send me a message anytime. I love you. I'm here from you. And until next time, I'm Ashley Logan, and I am unapologetically yours.